This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, February the 27th. So glad you could join us. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. The Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation has received a bailout from the government. Parliament today approved a resolution to grant $9.2 million to the state-owned broadcaster. The money will help the Pine institution pay its debts to overseas suppliers, among other things. Leading off debate, Acting Prime Minister Richard Seeley said the CBC was trying to fulfill its mandate in challenging times. He, however, made it clear that government was not prepared to continue to prop up the CBC and has the entity to get its house in order.
The government has insisted that the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation develop some sort of strategic plan for the future, and they have been actively engaging in this exercise, working with the Productivity Council to come up with a strategic plan for the future. And I think it's important that I mention this because I would not want people to believe that certainly the government is of the view that we can just give CBC all the money they need and not realize that there's some other concomitant elements that need to go with that.
Meanwhile, Industry and Commerce Minister Donville Innes called for the multiple television broadcast licenses to be issued. He said it was time for the government to seriously consider whether it should retain ownership of the state broadcaster. Innes argued that government should not be directly involved in media operations, but would be better off providing a regulatory environment.
Any modern democracy places great emphasis on an independent media, places emphasis on ensuring that there is a very clear mechanism in place for granting of licenses to operate media houses, recognizes how technology has changed and is likely to change as you address the issue of the best regulatory environment for media houses.
Meanwhile, Christchurch West MP Dr. Maria Agard endorsed the call for more local players to get television licenses. She said that the successive governments have not served the CBC well, and more competition could be a plus for the cash-strapped corporation.
CBC really and truly needs to dispense of its monopoly. It needs to open itself up, or the government needs to open itself up to the possibility of other terrestrial TV broadcasting stations so that we can harness the financial benefits that will come as a result.
Agard also urged the government to rethink its decision to ban drones, which she said was fast becoming a major industry that Barbados should seek to develop.
I was saddened, sir, when, as a government, what we call unmanned aerial vehicles were banned in 2016. And we banned drones, as they are otherwise known. We banned drones because we felt that they became a safety risk. And that may very well be true, sir. But we need to take note of the fact that the drone industry has gone from a $2 billion economy to a $4 billion economy. More and more individuals are using drones, whether it is for military action, whether it is in agriculture, or whether it is in the creative industry, where the drone can take some of the most phenomenal aerial videos. The fact remains that drones have now become a staple in many countries, while in Barbados, we are seeking to limit this industry.
Stay away from prison. That's the strong message from Superintendent of Prisons, Lieutenant Colonel John Nurse, who expressed concern that too many young people have the wrong idea about life behind bars. Speaking to reporters after a promotion ceremony for 54 of his officers at Her Majesty's Prison Dodge this morning, Nurse suggested that the images of convicts smiling and gesturing to the crowd as they leave court was merely a show. He made it clear that life behind bars is no joke.
Well, I think the photographs that you see or the scenes that you see at the courts are new people coming to prison. I don't think you ever see any new person coming off of one of those vehicles at my reception area high-fiving anybody or smiling and waving. Is completely different when you come to prison. So all of those youngsters who glamorize prison because of what they see on television and so on, they're sadly mistaken. I want them to understand that you have lost your freedom. You have lost your ability to determine when you're going to get up, when you're going to go to bed, what you're going to eat, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. There's so many freedoms that you sacrifice. So the moment of glamorization because you're being sent to prison at the court and you can wave at your friends and so on, that comes to an end very quickly. Once you get inside that bus, you are now under the control of the Barbados Prison Service and you have lost a significant amount of your freedoms.
The prison chief is not happy with this country's high recidivism rate. He says too many inmates were returning to Dodge partly because of the environment. He, however, said that former inmates should not be solely blamed for the criminal activity in the country, suggesting that studies should be carried out to determine what is fueling lawlessness in Barbados.
I think if you do a careful analysis, it is not only repeat offenders, but we are having new people entering crime. And I think the true analysis is trying to determine why that is happening, not necessarily attempting to put blame on repeat offending. Not justifying repeat offending, but suggesting that there must be a more holistic view and approach to determining what is leading.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. A decision by the Bermuda government to ban same-sex marriages less than a year after it became legal will be tested in the law courts again in another 3 months. The Supreme Court will hear a legal challenge against the new law on May the 21st and 22nd. The Chief Justice will hear the civil case brought by gay Bermudan Rod Ferguson, a 38-year-old singer and stand-up comedian who lives in the United States, against Attorney General Kathy Simmons. Ferguson's lawsuit, filed on February the 15th, claims that the new Domestic Partnership Act, piloted through the House of Assembly last year by Home Affairs Minister Walton Brown, is unconstitutional and will subject gay people to inhumane or degrading treatment by denying them the right to wed. He is seeking to have the legislation declared null and void by the court under the grounds that it breaches his fundamental rights as set out in the Bermuda Constitution. And on the international scene, nearly 2 weeks after 17 people were killed in a mass shooting at a high school in the United States, the Florida legislature today took a step closer to passing a bill that would allow teachers to be armed and raise the age limit to buy rifles. A House committee approved the bill that would raise the minimum age to buy rifles from 18 to 21 and creates a 3-day waiting period for all gun purchases. The bill also creates a program that allows teachers who receive law enforcement training and are deputized by the local sheriff's office to carry concealed weapons in the classroom if also approved by the school district. The 23-6 vote followed more than 4 hours of emotional discussion, which included the parents of some of the 17 killed at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on Valentine's Day. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates or like us on Facebook. Now, we are also on Izumi Media in-bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.